I have wanted to go to Buenos Aires for so long that I can't even remember how or where or when it started. All I know is that for years, just the sound of the name, Buenos Aires, evoked this longing in me that it didn't even make sense. I had no idea where it came from. I just knew that it was there and it was real. And then 2 years ago, I happened to meet somebody who had just been to Buenos Aires. And as she told me about her trip, and I got so excited about it, I asked myself the question, why am I not going? Why don't I just go? And so in that moment, it stopped being a dream and it became a plan. And this month, I finally went. Now, Argentina is not the most popular tourist destination for Canadians. So when I said I was doing this, people started to say, why? Why Argentina? What are you going to do in Buenos Aires? So I flippantly said, I'm going to eat rare steaks, drink red wine, and learn to tango. Hence the title of tonight's presentation. So in the 10 minutes that I have to talk to you, I'm just going to scratch the surface and see if I can share a little bit of that with you. And let's start with the steak. Before I went to Argentina, I was introduced to a lovely lady called Cecilia, who was born and raised in Buenos Aires, which makes her what they call a porteña. The people of Buenos Aires are porteños. And she was very keen to show me her city. So the second day I was there, she said she had arranged to go away for the afternoon with a bunch of her, 3 of her girlfriends. And she said, would you like to come with us? I said, whoa, a girly day in Argentina. Yes. So I went off with her. So there are 5 of us now, ladies. Think about it. You know what I'm saying? The girly day. You know how much fun they are, the laughter, the joking. Picture that where the other 4 are speaking a different language. But somehow it still managed to be hilarious and fun. Now, I actually do speak a little bit of Spanish, but this was the second day, and my ear wasn't attuned yet. So really, I was pretty much on the sidelines of the conversation, except for Cecilia helping me out. But the main thing, I will tell you this, every time I managed to string together a coherent sentence in Spanish, they cheered and they clapped and they said, oh, that's wonderful. And I have to tell you, the professional speaker in me really appreciated that. Anyway, off we went to this place. It was about an hour away from the city, and we stopped off for lunch. So we go into this restaurant, and they said, we'll order for you. I said, fine, because I don't know what's on the menu. So the waitress came with a gigantic platter of meat. There was 3 different cuts of beef. There was pork, there was lamb, there was ribs, there was sausages. And there was all the fixings with them. And I looked at it and I said to myself, lunch? I usually have a cheese sandwich. I'm never going to be able to do justice to this, but you know what? I did. Because Argentine beef is to die for. It is so succulent and tender and tasty. I even ate it rare. You know, I'm from Scotland, so I pretty much grew up eating my beef burnt to a crisp. But now I'm being converted to the red meat. How many of you here love a good steak? Yes. Well, Argentine cuisine is for you. Do we have any vegetarians? Not so much. So then we move on to the wine. Now, before I went to Argentina, I started drinking the Malbec, just to kind of get into the mood. Well, I think there are 2 brands that you can get of Malbec here, but when you get down there are hundreds of them. And I felt it was my duty to, try as many of them as I possibly could. And I actually acquitted myself quite well in that direction. I also learned that there is a difference between our understanding and the Argentine understanding of a measure. As in, they don't have one. So a lot of the time I was eating by myself, so I didn't order a bottle of wine. I just ordered the wine by the glass. But when they pour you a glass of wine, they pour you a glass of wine. You know those infinity swimming pools that are sort of dripping over the edge? That's the way the first sip is always an adventure. The first night I was walking home from dinner from the restaurant to the hotel, and I felt a bit tipsy. And I thought, I've only had 2 glasses of wine. Then I thought, note to self, every glass of wine you have is actually 2 glasses of wine. So I was careful after that. Not stupid, but careful. And then we have the tango. Has anybody here ever been to Buenos Aires? A couple. So you know what I'm talking about. But everybody else, the rest of you probably think, as I did before I went, that the tango is a dance, right? No. In Buenos Aires, it is so much more than a dance. The tango is part of the soul of the people of Buenos Aires. It is almost palpable. You can feel it in the air. You can smell it. You can feel the rhythm. You hear the music everywhere you go. Twice, I had the good fortune to come upon people dancing tango in the street. It is just something that can never be forgotten. Now, I said to Cecilia, I'd like to have a go. I'd like to, have a go at this. Can we get a lesson? So Cecilia says to me, Helen, my name is Elena in Spanish, but I never say that because I like the way they say Helen. So she said, Helen, do you have the right shoes? I said, well, I don't know. What are the right shoes? Do you have to have the high heels? So I said, pardon? I mean, I knew what she said, but it sounded so nice. I wanted to hear it again. She said, do you have the high heels? I'll never buy shoes again without thinking about that. So I had these shoes with me, and these were deemed to be high enough. They were fine. Actually, they used to be just my black shoes, but now they are the tango shoes. Now, I had 3 different tango places that I went to, but I just want to tell you about one of them. The tango in Buenos Aires is a bit of a time warp. When you walk into these tango halls, you feel as though you've walked into the 1940s, which is actually a large part of its charm. So I went with Cecilia to this cabaret, and there were 3 couples dancing on the floor. Brilliant, flying feet, serious faces, good-looking men, lovely women, fabulous, lovely show. And at the end, everybody was getting ready to go. The place was empty. Cecilia and I were killing the end of a fine bottle of Malbec. And I looked over to the corner, and I saw this fellow standing against the wall, and he was the male half of my favorite of the 3 dancing couples. And I said, I wonder if I could get my picture taken with him. Okay, I'm a tango groupie. So Cecilia said, well, we'll ask him. So she asked him. And he said, but of course. So I think I'm going to go and stand over there with this guy and get my picture taken. But no, I don't know. He had a different idea. He was a performer. He was a tanguero. So he reaches out his hand towards me. He comes towards me. He takes me by the hand. And he escorts me up onto the cabaret floor under the spotlight. He takes me in his arms in the traditional tango position. I am melting. And he looks down and he says, "The leg, up." So the leg went up. And Cecilia is out with the iPhone flashing away like mad. And many of you here are my Facebook friends and have seen and commented on the photograph. So this was another moment. And I have to say, the steak, the wine, and the tango, they all were wonderful parts and marvelous memories. But you know, for me, the best part about Buenos Aires was just being there. After all these years of dreaming, The first couple of days I walked around pinching myself to just be sure that I was actually there. And so for me, Buenos Aires has become a personal metaphor for something long desired and finally achieved. Because, I don't believe that dreams come true. I believe that things much desired can be brought to fruition through our own actions and the things that we do. So each one of you in this room has your own personal Buenos Aires. I don't know what it is, but you do. And what I want for you after today, I want you to think about this. What I want for you is for you to take that dream, that Buenos Aires, and take it out of the dream box. Because as long as it's a dream, you won't expect it to come true, so it won't. Take it out of the dream box, put it into the planning file, and start executing the plan. And eventually you'll get there. Whatever your Buenos Aires is, please, please, please go for it. Because when you get it, when you get there, you will be so happy that you did. And when you do go, don't forget your tango shoes.